The following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Since all of our other stations are focusing on Christmas music, I thought we would jump into the fray here and present you with a holiday spirit message. Ho, ho, ho. Okay, that's it, okay? Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday we're here, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, as the man said. Good to have you with us. For the next 3 hours, we get together and talk about whatever we're going to talk about, and we certainly, as always, have a lot to talk about. Before I get into the show today, I wanted to make sure that you knew, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that Liz Cheney is considering a third-party run for president. Aren't you excited about that? Yes, she believes that she has a chance to win. Now, I'm going to give you a sports analogy, and if you don't know who this team is, well, then I'll explain it to you. She has about as much chance of winning as the Carolina Panthers have of winning the Super Bowl, and they are a one-win team. Okay? Liz Cheney, rah, rah, rah. Can't make this stuff up. But we do have a lot to talk about today. We'll get into, the latest Trump thing and the latest Biden thing. And, of course, Hunter Biden now, 9 counts of tax evasion. And he could get 17 years in jail, although he won't see a minute of it if it goes to form. So we do have a lot to talk about. And as always, our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. And later on in the show, Joe Yakovich will be stopping by, and he's going to give us his year-end financial review and what we should do in terms of our finances and how we should handle the year-end and so on and so forth. So we'll look forward to that, Joe Yakovich, at 11 o'clock this morning here on Talk with a Purpose. But I saw one of those ads the other day, and it was clear that they were making reference to the Trump administration. And there's this woman, and she's saying, oh, the last administration, they made a fortune for drug companies. Did they? I don't know. But this is the kind of stuff that goes on. So she was saying that, this administration, meaning Biden, is going to, they've fought for us. They've made drug prices come down, and they've made drugs more affordable for people who couldn't normally afford them. And I was wondering, I don't remember any of that, but nevertheless, this is what the narrative is, and it will continue to be that. And this led me to believe that the consistent narrative for the Democrats in this upcoming campaign is just that. Oh, Trump did this and Trump did that. And, he's going to be a dictator. And we'll get to that in a minute. They're talking about Trump being just that, a dictator. And I thought it interesting the other night. Trump was on Hannity. And, of course, Hannity has been a cheerleader for Trump ever since day one. And I don't fault him for that. He's entitled to that. The exchange between Hannity and Trump was something like this. Hannity says, under no circumstances you are promising America tonight that you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody. That's the question. And to which Trump replied, except for day one. Now, I have a problem with that because you know what's going to happen in the future. They're going to use the dictator part, and they're not going to use the except for day one part. You follow me? So he says, Trump says, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator. Okay. While Trump may not mean this literally, I think you and I can chime in on what we can think about this. It's a dangerous path to go down because the word dictator, the words abuse of power, and anything else is fuel for Biden and the Democrats. In fact, just this week, President Biden said, if Trump weren't running, I wouldn't run. We can't let him win. He's a threat to democracy in so many words. So you see this constant narrative of dictator, and my concern is that Trump fuels this. I mean, if I were him, and if I were his advisors, although he probably doesn't listen to his advisors, I would stay away from the word dictator and the words like that, abuse of power. And he has said many times, I'm going to come after the people who came after me. Well, maybe you could come after them, but you don't tell people that. And of course, he's being called a bully. Yeah. This is all the same stuff that we've heard before, but it's continuing now, and it's getting worse, if you will. For me, I just wish that he would concentrate, and I said this before, on the accomplishments of his first administration. Low inflation, low energy prices, a soaring economy, and so on. What is wrong with talking about that? What is wrong with talking about a return to that? To borrow a word from Seth, return to prosperity. Nothing wrong with that. But to say that, I'm not going to be a dictator, day one. This is where the Democrats can take that day one and say, he's going to be dictator for day two, day three, forever. And I heard one of the articles I read this week that he's even thinking of running forever. And that's not going to happen. But, they say this stuff and people believe it. So I just think, and you can chime in on this today, and we'll see where we're at with this. But this is the point. Stop this dictator stuff. It doesn't help. And with what's going on now in this country, I just don't think we need that. And that's my message to President Trump and his advisors and so on. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. We bring in the one and only Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, to chime in on anything and everything we're talking about today here on the show. Seth, good morning.
Well, thanks for getting me in trouble already, because at our meeting, we had about 30 people at our meeting last Saturday. We meet every Saturday from 9:30 to 10:30 for breakfast discussion. And because I've been making some comments about Trump and DeSantis, one of the members called a straw vote. And it turned out that 91% of the members at that meeting said that they were for Trump, and 9%, including me, said we were for DeSantis. But so now you see I'm in trouble because you provoked me into saying something about Trump and his dictator talk. Because by saying stuff like that, it just shows that Trump, in my opinion as a lawyer, hasn't yet figured out how the government works. So let's suppose Trump gets elected, And let's suppose he's inaugurated on January 20th of 2025, and then Trump says, I order this and I order that and I order the other thing. Well, who's going to listen to him? Because he has to appoint people to run the Army, to run the Border Patrol, to run all these federal agencies. And if he can't get the Senate to confirm his picks for those people, then he's going to end up with Biden's people still sitting in all these top positions. And he's going to give these orders, and they're going to tell him to say, what the heck with you? So in a way, that's the difference between Trump, who he's an outsider. He doesn't know how the government works. He brags about being an outsider. But at some point, you have to learn the business that you're going to be running. Now, will he learn how to do that between now and whenever he gets in? That's for discussion. But he's not a dictator. He's has the executive power of a constitutional government, and all these people who he's giving orders to have taken oaths to support and protect and defend the Constitution. Anyway, you see, it got me off my my 3 pages of what I wanted to talk about.
All right, now you can talk about what you want to talk about.
All right. Well, anyway, it's all posted at libertyandprosperity.com. And we're coming to the end of our main project, the teaching calendars. We have about 400 left. And this last week or two before Christmas, we're doing everything we can to get as many out as we can. You can pick them up at the Liberty and Prosperity office in Summers Point at Maryland and Shore Road. They're in a plastic bin. Take what you need. They're at every breakfast at Sal's Cafe in Summers Point. But if you want to have one mailed to you or delivered to you, just call the office number 609-927-7333 or email info@libertyandprosperity.com, and we'll get them to you. And let me give you an example of how interesting and effective these calendars are. I mean, in all the 20 years we've had Liberty and Prosperity, this project is having a bigger impact than anything we've ever done. Last Thursday, I took a couple dozen to a business networking group, and you had a lot of young business owners, a lot of, there was a landscaper, big muscular guy, and he's looking at the calendar, and he's not paying attention to the meeting. He's just reading the whole calendar. Then at the end, he comes up to me and he said, boy, I'm fascinated by the story of George Hammett. He was the owner of the Steel Pier, and he owned several circuses in the New Jersey State Fair. But he started coming broke to Atlantic City and juggling and doing acrobatic tricks on the beach in front of the boardwalk for tips. And having one of the guys in his acrobat troupe was flirting with a waitress at Child's Restaurant at South Carolina Avenue, and that's what kept him alive. But he just wanted me to get the book to learn more about it. And here's like a young guy in his 20s with no interest in any of this before, and that's how the calendar gets people involved. And another example, I had to go to the dentist last week. So I started handing it out to the receptionist and the people in the waiting room. And then I got out and I had my treatment. I'm coming out. Everyone's telling me, oh, this is wonderful. How do I get more of these calendars for my grandkid? Can I get one for my nephew? So I turned that dentist office into a mini distribution center. So we have about 300 or 400 left. So I really think if you want to do a favor for your family, your kids, grandkids, anyone in school, nieces, nephews, please get those calendars.
Well, I don't have one yet.
Oh, gee. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to drive by.
And I'm a sponsor.
I did. I left some at the studio. See, that shows how popular they are. I must have left about 30 or 40 at the station to give out to everybody there, and they're all gone. So
Chris is looking for them now, and he doesn't seem to find them. Nope. Well, they're not
Chris
here.
Is my witness. He's telling me in them out, but I'll make sure I save a couple for you.
Okay.
Now the other thing, of course, the top post on our website is the irony of the Jewish Hanukkah holiday, how it gave hope to early Christians, and we go through the whole history of the holiday. It started last Thursday. it celebrates a real historical event, the rededication of the Jewish temple, that took place on the 25th day of the midwinter month of the Jewish calendar. And the fact that Christmas is December 25th, it's not at all a coincidence when you really get into the history of the holiday. But what's interesting is if you read last Thursday's Press of Atlantic City, they gave the woke history of Hanukkah. They call it the Festival of Lights, as if it's just another, like a typical Native American holiday or something. And it says it marks the dedication of the Temple of Jerusalem after a small group of Jewish fighters liberated it from occupying foreign forces. Now, what does that sound like? It's almost like the Jews were the Palestinians of the day. But it's a much deeper story. Hanukkah celebrates the miracle of the survival of the Jewish people during a time when there was a Greek emperor called Antiochus wanted to create a one-world government with one leader, one language, one culture, and one religion. And the Jews who lived in that empire, they wanted to follow all the laws. They paid their taxes. They followed all the rules, but they just wanted to keep their Bibles, their traditions. But because of this, they were persecuted as enemies of the state. And any Jew who had a Bible in their house was rounded up, arrested, tortured, and killed. Anyone who would not eat, publicly eat pork or food that was not permitted would be killed. If a Jewish child was circumcised, they would take the baby. They would kill the baby. They kill the mother, and they'd hang the baby around the mother's neck. All these brutal tortures. And that was what the Jews were fighting for, to have the right to remain with their own religion. And miraculously, the Jews won. So that's what the holiday is. So what's the connection with Christmas and Christians? Well, a couple hundred years later, Christians went through the same thing during the Roman Empire when they were fed to hungry lions in crowded stadiums, and when Christianity was declared to be a subversive religion. And anyone who would not denounce being Christian or denounce Jesus was arrested, tortured, and executed. But the Christians read this book of the Maccabees that taught the story of the Jewish Hanukkah. They were inspired by it, and they conquered the Roman Empire with their faith. So the connection between Christmas and Hanukkah, between Christians and Hanukkah, is very important, and in many ways it's what's going on in the world today, this war on both religions. And by the way, because the Jewish Hanukkah story did not have a happy ending, it turned out that that once the Jews had an independent country, there was corruption, there was infighting, and the Jewish leaders sold out to the Romans. There were horrible rebellions against Rome. And so the Jewish rabbis really did not want to glorify the Hanukkah holiday. But the Christians embraced the holiday, and that's why if you want to read the Hanukkah story, you won't find it anywhere in a Jewish Bible, you won't find it in the Mishnah, you won't find it in the Talmud. But if you pick up a Roman Catholic Bible, or if you pick up a Greek Orthodox Bible, there's a section called the Apocrypha that has the whole book of Maccabees and the whole detailed story. So it's ironic that Christians preserved and followed a holiday that many Jews later rejected. So there's a lot of irony there. Now where does this come into our war against Christians? If you have a Microsoft computer, when you turn it on, the first thing you do is you hit the start button, and it comes up with what's called the Bing News. And it's the 8 top stories of the day. And if anyone has been following that, they'll see that 2 or 3 or even 4 times each week, there'll be a major headline story on why Christians are bad, why the Bible is bad, why churches are bad, and it's all total lies. And 2 days ago, the big story in this Microsoft Bing News was 21 reasons why you should raise your child without religion. And I won't go through all 21, but it starts out by saying, if you raise your child without religion, you are promoting independent thought. And that's ridiculous, because anyone who knows anything about Bible study knows the Bible's a collection of books that start in the barbaric Stone Age, and they go right up to Jesus and Hillel. And so you realize that there are things that were permitted and okay back in caveman, barbaric, Dark Ages times that are no longer acceptable today. And every discussion of the Bible talks about why something is right then, why it's wrong now. It encourages all this. The second reason given by Microsoft as to why you should not, why you should raise your child without religion, if you do that, you encourage questioning and curiosity. And as I pointed out, nothing does more to encourage questioning and curiosity than Bible study. In fact, the reason we teach everybody how to read and write, the reason we have literacy today is because Protestants believed every Christian should know how to read and read the Bible. And the final thing is, the third thing of this 21 reasons, religion gives people fear-based motivation. It teaches people to respond to fear. And why is that not a good thing? Don't steal, don't lie, don't kill, don't be jealous of others. I mean, if you violate that rules, bad things happen, and you should be afraid of them. And the fact is that what we do, we live in something called civilization. And civilization means we have these 3,000 or 4,000 years of wisdom that were acquired painfully by doing stupid things. So we don't have time in a short life to do all these stupid things ourselves to get smart. We have to read about when other people ahead of us did stupid things, so we could be smarter without doing all the damage that you do when you make stuff up as you go along. So there's a whole lot of reason why religion is a good thing, and why the Judeo-Christian heritage gave us this wonderful civilization, which we're teaching our children how to destroy. So that's my rant on religion today, is inspired by the Hanukkah holiday.
You know, you're on a rant, and I want to throw you a curveball here.
Okay.
Liz McGill, who is the president of Penn, is getting a lot of heat for what she said the other day before Congress. Do you feel she should resign?
I mean, what's been going on at Penn is just horrible. I mean, and it just didn't start with what she said then. Remember the professor Amy Wax?
Yes.
Amy Wax is the professor at University of Pennsylvania who gave an interview where she said anyone could succeed in America. And she said, here's all you have to do. You have to get married, and you have to finish school before you have children. And the statistics show that 80 to 90% of anyone who does that, whether you're black, white, poor, immigrant, whatever, you will have a successful, prosperous life in America. For saying that, even though she was a tenured professor, she was fired. They stopped her from teaching. They took away her pension. They took away her tenure. They destroyed her life. And that's what they did to a respected tenured professor. So you could imagine what they're doing to any Jewish student who would dare to stick up for Israel, or who would in any way say that this Wahhabi cult of Islam is a deadly and dangerous evil that we should fight. And so, what's unusual is that it's taken so long to figure out what these colleges are doing.
So she should resign, is what you're saying.
She should be fired.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why should she even have the chance to resign?
Yeah.
And probably the reason that she was picked in the first place, like the president of Harvard University, was because she was a diversity pick. If they were going for the most qualified people, she probably wouldn't even be in the top 10. But they require you have to be a woman, you have to be of color, you have to be have a record of being with all these woke anti-American causes, and then we'll consider you to be president of a university. Just real quick things that, of course, I don't have time that are posted on our website. Atlantic City made national news yesterday. Because there's no supermarket in Atlantic City, and because people are suffering from this horrible food desert, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority and one of the hospitals, I forget which one, have a bus filled with groceries going around Atlantic City, selling groceries. And how many things are wrong with this? You have a government agency unfairly competing with private businesses. You have food stores in Atlantic City, just not a supermarket. The Economic Development Authority is supposed to be borrowing money on projects where they pay the money back, and obviously this bus is not going to pay anyone back. And there are no supermarkets in Atlantic City because you can only have a supermarket where you have civilized people who don't steal. So unless you get crime under control and start teaching these basic religious values like thou shalt not steal, you're not going to have supermarkets, and you shouldn't have supermarkets because that's a luxury of civilization. So, just two more points. Ocean City Sentinel is praising buying up open space to preserve space in New Jersey, and obviously that's treating the symptom, not the disease. We're losing open space in New Jersey because we have massive immigration. And if you just buy up land and keep it vacant while you have massive immigration, all you're going to do is drive up the price of land, drive up the price of housing, drive up the price of everything, but not solve the problem. And I'm out of time. It's Liberty and Prosperity meets at Sal's Cafe, 9:30 to 10:30 every Saturday. And the 10 minutes more that I would want to talk about, just go to libertyandprosperity.com. Read it or show up at the breakfast, because at the breakfast I'll be talking about all the stuff I never get to when we're on the radio. So thank you for letting me have this moment, and have a great weekend. A happy Hanukkah to everybody. And God willing, we'll talk next week.
Okay. Seth, thank you. As always, Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity. The website, libertyandprosperity.com. The meeting starts at 9:30 this morning at Sal's Coal Fire Pizza on Groveland Avenue in Somers Point. It is Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. After the break, we'll talk to Bob, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
This holiday season, come celebrate in Hamilton. It's the blueberry capital of the world, and so much more. Celebrate the taste with cuisine to satisfy any palate. Italian, Mexican, Asian, and traditional American specialties. Celebrate the spirit. Wineries, breweries, distilleries. Your choice of over a dozen places to sample local tastes. Celebrate the arts, Eagle Theater shows, and live music in so many venues. Celebrate the day. Celebrate the night. Celebrate the season. Fireman's Parade tonight, third Thursday on December 21st, and Hamilton's New Year's Eve Bash, and much more. This holiday, bring the family and celebrate Hamilton. This message from the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce is supported in part by a grant from the New Jersey Department of State, Division of Travel and Tourism.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose. And speaking of Joe Yakovich, she'll be here at 11 this morning. It's our year-end financial review, courtesy of Joe Yakovich, coming up at 11. this morning here on Talk with a Purpose. Right now, though, it's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Bob and Cape May. Good morning, Bob. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, good morning, John. Not used to being the leadoff hitter here. So, but
you're.
I think everybody's Christmas shopping, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Yeah. Hey, so look, I want to talk about a general point, not just focusing on one issue, but it all comes together with the point that I'm trying to make. And that is, we hear from the liberal media, we hear this from Democrats ad nauseum. The conservatives are fascist. Trump is going to be a dictator. Trump and DeSantis are bullies, right? You hear that all the time. So what's the reality, though? Who are the real bullies? Who are the real dictators? You know, when it comes to policy and what the constituents, what the people of this country vote or want, what the people of this country want, the Democrats, the leftist communists, they don't listen. They don't listen at all. When it comes to educating our children, what do we really desire? We desire that our kids become useful citizens, that they're not indoctrinated into things that will never work for them, that don't really benefit them at all in terms of their education, gender studies, the critical race theory. This has no beneficial effect for kids. When it comes to the borders, we want our borders to be secure. We want people admitted to this country who are beneficial to this country, not what's happening now. Okay, when it comes to energy policy, we don't want electric cars. They are sitting in dealerships' parking lots. They cannot sell them. They're too expensive. They make no sense. But again, the bullies are forcing this down our throats. You know, when it comes to taxation, we don't want, the interest alone on this out of control spending that the politicians in Washington are doing, and it's propagated mostly by the leftist Democrats. It's the interest alone now is $1 trillion for the next year. The interest alone. We get nothing for that.
Oh, my God.
John, we get nothing for that. So, again, who are the bullies? That is my question. And the answer is very clear. It's very clear.
They are.
The bullies are.
They are.
They
Yeah.
sure are.
They are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. With all this woke stuff, that alone would qualify them as bullies. But you see, they never say that, And, that's what I was saying about Trump. I mean, he feeds into that by saying, oh, well, I won't be a dictator except for day one. And we know he's being facetious there. But the point is, they're going to take that and they're going to run with it. And that's what they do.
John, when we lose our ability to understand a joke, a sense of humor, and I agree with you. There are going to be CNN and MSNBC commentators that they're already going with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we lose that, I can't attack Trump for that. I mean, you got to be able to make a joke. And look, the first thing he should do, I agree with him. First thing he should do is open the drilling, make our energy affordable again, and close the border. Those are agendas that everybody, the 90% of the people in this country, want that to happen.
Yeah,
they really do.
I agree.
I just have to comment though, and real quick on Governor DeSantis. He had a great debate. I didn't watch it all because it's hard to find that channel, but I did see the highlights. And he had a great debate that it's going to move this needle. I don't think. I understand the obvious that's going to happen, but I will tell you this: that all those issues that I just mentioned, Governor DeSantis he has a record of doing something about all these issues.
That's right.
Yeah, he it's not just talk. He has been really incredibly effective. And I will say this in terms of 2028, that, the Trump voters, and, again, I'm talking to my friend Craig and a lot of other people that call in. Look, you need to learn how to be gracious winners, okay? I'm absolutely going to be all in for President Trump if he's the nominee, and he probably will be. But, please, be a gracious winner, okay? Governor DeSantis, he's the future of this party. He
That's
should
right.
be the future
I
of
agree.
this party. Okay?
I agree.
Right? I mean, that's
yeah.
And, when you rub this in our face, okay, when you rub the fact that Governor DeSantis, our candidate, hasn't done that well. Okay, I agree, of course. It's obvious. But his performance, what he has done, you should not throw him under the bus. You should not try to destroy him. You really shouldn't. That's not where we need to go in 4 years.
As a governor, he's done very well. No, he's done very well.
If you think Nikki Haley is really going to be a superior leader in 4 years, I think you're dead wrong. Who's going to take the Trump mantle if not Ron DeSantis? Who is it? I asked that question.
That's right.
Answer that question.
I agree. It would be DeSantis. Bob, thanks a lot for the call. Right. We appreciate it. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. We'll talk to Craig after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5, also heard on 1450 AM and online at WPGTalkRadio.com. I'm John DeMasi. We'll come back with more of today's Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, you want to get your Christmas shopping. We've been saying folks are out shopping today. They're not calling. Well, you want to get your shopping done, like, real fast? I'll tell you what you do. You go to bfmazio.com. bfmazio.com, and you make the list of who you're going to send gift baskets to, and you do it right there at BF Mazzio. Sure. And their gift baskets, fruit baskets, are second to none. In fact, again this year, they won Best of the Press 9 years in a row for best gift baskets. I mean, they are superior. When I send one, oh my God, the people, they rave about it. So that's what you do. If you're really searching for a gift for somebody, that's the place to go. And if you want the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere, BF Mazzio, of course, 601 New Road in Northfield. And when it comes to the holidays and your holiday dinner, well, they can take care of you there as well. You do the meal, they'll do the rest. They have a wide variety of holiday sides, and they can customize it to, any amount of people that you have. So it really makes your life easier in all ways. Gift giving, cooking, whatever. It's BF Mazzio. And again, online at bfmazio.com, bfmazio.com. And, of course, they wish you a happy holidays from BF Mazzio. 601 New Road, Northfield. And, again, the website, bfmazio.com. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Some patchy fog to start today, otherwise it's partly sunny and mild with a high 59. Cloudy tonight, the low 45, and then temperatures rising into the upper 50s. Tomorrow, rain and a thunderstorm mainly late in the day, otherwise cloudy and windy with a high 66. A shower to start Monday morning, otherwise a mix of clouds and sun, windy and colder, Monday's high 48. I'm AccuWeather forecaster Rose Tamburino on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. And if you want to email me during the week, jdadv1@comcast.net. jdadv1@comcast.net. You can email me anything you like, pro, con, program suggestions, you name it. We'll take it all on. jdadv1@comcast.net. Let's talk to Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning. How are you, John?
Well, I'm recovering.
Yeah, I got to tell you, look, I told you about going over there.
Yeah, well, you were right.
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, you were right. That's
Okay, he gave you a little something there. That's going all around. I'm surprised you didn't actually have COVID, because a lot of people have that over there as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to, come back with what Bob said about our boy down there, the governor in Florida, DeSantis. No, look, DeSantis is young. And, he came out of the box. I think that he got bad advice. And listen, he's a good governor.
Yes, he is.
Loves him.
He is.
Listen, but look, when Donald Trump sat in the presidency seat for the first time, and everybody that sits there for the first time, the first couple of years are pretty rough because you're getting your navigation skills together. Obviously, nobody ever knew that Trump would not only need navigation skills, but a swarm of attorneys and defensive backs, to hold up all the lies and to try to take down the sitting general. I mean, it's crazy. Now, don't forget General Kelly there, what they did to him. They took his house, for goodness sake, over a lie, right?
Yeah.
A lie.
Yeah.
Right? No, and that was right. So, so anyway, we had those two debates, and Newsom. Did you see what Newsom did this week?
No, I didn't see that.
All right. So let's go back and let's set up the playbook, guys, so we can look at this from a totally different mindset. DeSantis had a debate with Newsom, and the wife threw out the white flag, and she surrendered. Am I right, Newsom? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because who called off the rest of the debate?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The First Lady from California, Mrs. Newsom, she saw that her husband, I got to tell you something, her husband looked like Rocky on the first 7 rounds.
Yeah.
Did you not agree?
Yes. That's a good analogy.
Okay, because he was getting beat up for all the lies. How about that poopy map? Did you? Come on, we got to talk about that. I mean, they got a poopy map in California so you can navigate around the feces, the human feces on the streets. Not only that, but the Needle Park, and then the explosions underneath the bridge, and then and in San Francisco they got that wonderful retail outlet that's totally empty now because all the people from all the theft. Because you could steal $200 or $1,000 and you could walk away, get out scot-free. I mean, that's not bad. So, then after he did that, did you see what happened? Who got indicted?
No, I didn't see that either.
Well, okay, Hunter Biden, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
9 indictments?
9,
Okay.
yeah,
And
9.
Where did that come from? What state? California.
Oh, yeah.
Let me help you out. You getting the playbook now?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Hunter, the first, the president is lighting his little Christmas tree alone, and Newsom, who wasn't going to light a Christmas tree, all of a sudden has this whole playbook where he's at the Capitol building with the First Lady and his family and how wonderful they look and couples that they have coming and putting up Christmas balls to give you the impression that he is now the new Democratic leader and the actual president, because what Biden was doing was nothing there.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, couple things here. We saw that McCarthy went out the door, right?
Yeah, that's surprising. Yeah.
That was surprising?
Yeah.
Now, he got caught with, listen, you know, he made so many promises that he's like a McConnell light. Don't kid yourself. And where'd he go? He went to a California college to be what? Work there, right?
Yeah.
It don't get more liberal than California in a college, does it?
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about Nikki. I did bring that up last week, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and what did I say? How dumb she was?
Yeah.
She only had to raise her hand, right?
Yeah.
And what did Vivek bring up during the debate? Did you get to see that?
I didn't see it, and I heard it was a snooze fest, but, you know, that's beside the point. What did Vivek do?
Something. No. It was not a snooze fest. Okay? They want you to not hear what Vivek said. So anybody, go back and play his little rendition on Nikki and Christie, because Christie went to stick up for Nikki, and you know, Harry and I have a little bit of a disagreement. Vivek, Harry thought that he was out of control, and he does get out of control. But you know what? The youth love him from 20 to 28. They love him. So
yeah.
He's got a lot of support there. But he told Chris Christie, because he badgered Nikki. Vivek did. And Chris Christie goes, "Oh, you shouldn't do that, respect." And he goes, "Why don't you go have a Happy Meal or something like that?" Right to his face. He told me, "You should get off the stage and go have a Happy Meal," you know? But basically what he did say was, and I didn't know it, he actually brought up that Nikki, and you remember I brought this up last week, that all of a sudden, you know, Nikki got wealthy, right?
Yes.
And he said she was bankrupt when she left the UN. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. No.
No money. He said, you were bankrupt. And she didn't deny it. And then she got, you ready? All of a sudden, she's worth $8 million.
Wow.
Wow, that ain't so bad, is it?
No.
Man, she got smart, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, you went from dum-dum to gum-gum, right?
Yes.
Remember that movie, The
Yeah.
Museum? Oh, yeah, that was rough. Anyway, let's just talk real quick. We had a rough week last week with San Francisco. Man, did we get a thrashing.
Yes, we did.
Oh, man, I still got the marks on my back, I got to tell you. So what do you think, John?
Better win tomorrow. Better win tomorrow.
Well, I know we better win tomorrow, but what do you think the score's going to be? Bob didn't give us a score here. Maybe I'll call back and give us a little insight.
I'm going to say 28-24 Eagles.
You know what? I'm going to just go with a field goal, period. I think we may eke it out by 3 points, but it all depends on how our quarterback comes out, right, Hurts?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah, did you like the way he was playing?
So-so.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, buddy,
Hey,
feel better?
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Talk with a Purpose again is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming up on a break, and then after the break, we'll talk to Ben, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. Coming back with more Talk with a Purpose, and wrapping up hour number 1 already after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world.
The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Ben in Galloway. Ben, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Morning, John. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. I want to continue the conversation just a little bit, too. And, Bill and your other caller always make great comments and speak great things. I just want to talk a little bit about the parties. I'm looking at the public, and if they're watching television and let's say you're a Democrat and you're on the fence, and I think the fence broke when Newsom took that challenge from DeSantis, and, he just looked like your normal politician with those pearly white teeth,
yes,
looking in the camera and lying to you,
yes,
and not having his facts. And DeSantis just rolled over him. I mean, that was bad. So if you're a Democrat, you were always hoping for him. I think you lost a little faith in him, and I think you lost a little more faith in your party. And naturally, I think all of us can say that the party is just not the party of the Democrat society. It's just not there. Period.
Yep.
You could cut that party into 3 or 4 different pieces of pie, and they're all different. And that's not what this government is all about.
That's right.
So they're in trouble. They know it. They're just in the basement. They're done. As for the Republicans, which I am, the people that we had up there on stage in the beginning of the debate process were all very good. I mean, the only one I don't care for was Christie. But anyway, I think he could do a better job than Joe Biden right now anyway.
Well, that's true.
The rest of them, all very smart, very intelligent, I feel would have a good chance in running this country. But I think most of us know, and the Trumpers and all of us who want to see him back in there, he's going to win. He is going to win. And I wish that everyone in the Republican Party would have gotten together. This is my only problem with the Republicans. If they would have gotten together and just say, Trump is the candidate, he is our guy, and there would be no more debates.
Yes.
It would just be Trump in the aisle and Biden in the aisle, and we know who's going to win that.
Yeah.
As long as nothing goes on with the balloting, if we know all about that.
Yeah.
So I think Trump can only do 4 years. Let him put this country back on track. Let him do it. And then Trump, I guarantee you, if he gets in, he will pick your next candidate for president of 2028.
Yes.
He will pick that person to continue what Trump has done. And Trump will, it doesn't have to be his vice president. It could be somebody totally different. I mean, Tim Scott is good. I'm a grandfather. I ask myself and my kids who have kids, would you right now go to war for the guy that's sitting in the office right now?
No, I wouldn't.
And I don't think there's not many people, John, I think, that can actually say that would fight for this country and for the guy who's sitting in that chair right now.
Yeah.
There's not many out there that would give up our lives.
Yeah.
I think if you had the Trumpers, they would say, I'd go to war right now. You'd have vets going to war right now back to help him out.
Yes.
So I just wish the Republican Party would have said, let's get Trump in. He can only do 4 years, and let's get the guy in there and nurture him for the next 8 years and go from there.
Yes.
That's my opinion. That's what I think we should have done, and I wish they would have gone that way instead of this little bickering and everything else, the little fighting back and forth.
Yeah, that's
the only thing.
That's a real good call, Ben, and I thank you for the call. That's well said and well put, and really, that's the message that I think they should use. Just simply, hey, Trump gets in there and he grooms DeSantis or Nikki Haley or whatever, but that was a perfect call and a perfect playbook for the Republicans for the next several years. That's what I think. We'll take this call after the news. All right. 609-407-1450. That'll be the number. And, of course, Joe Yakovich coming in. You're an hour early. He's an hour early. Joe Yakovich comes in, and he's rushing, and it's 10 o'clock, and he's on at 11. I mean, maybe are all your watches like they messed up or what?
He's so excited. And I had to come in early.
This is really good. Well, fortunately, he's good at the finances. Not good at telling time, but good at the finances. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 2 coming up, and we'll talk more about Trump and about the election and who knows, the debates. And we're going to talk about Liz Cheney. And I want to talk about briefly about a security guard in Philadelphia was murdered the other day. And wait till you hear what the fine is for stealing under $500. I just wanted to briefly talk about that because that's really bothered me. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't go away.
95.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. As the man said, I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. We'll get to Dan and Linwood in just a moment. But first, couple of things that I wanted to mention. Did you see where the gold bars that Senator Menendez had in his house, they were previously stolen? So the crook got from the crook. Oh, can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's just. But another thing I wanted to mention, and the other day, and I've shopped at this store, the Macy's in Center City, Philadelphia, and it is a very nice store, and it has a great history. And it's a shame because 2 security guards, well, one was killed. A shoplifter. They got a shoplifter. He was stealing hats or something. I mean, he stabbed the one guard and he died. And it came to pass that they were investigating, and it was said that in Philadelphia right now for shoplifters. Now, I remember when I was growing up, a couple of my friends, they stole a few records from a department store. And I remember this vividly because it was all over the neighborhood. they were locked up and their parents had to go get them. Well, today, thanks to the DA of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner, do you know what the penalty is for under $500? Yeah, slap on the wrist. They get a ticket. A ticket. Just like you were, like a parking ticket. You get a ticket. The retail theft, according to these reports in Philadelphia, is running rampant. And, you know, what is this world coming to? You know, you can steal. Oh, well, nah, it's all right. Well, no wonder. No wonder people are stealing. There's no consequence. Under $500, you get a ticket. And this security guard, he was 28 years old. He's killed. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want my child to become a security guard. It's not worth it. So I just had to get that off my chest. I mean, when I heard that, and I mean, there's no consequence for anything. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John, I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, a little clarification. First quick point is the fellow who was grilling you about the Trump not saying the word support in his oath of office.
Yeah.
It's not in there.
You're next.
That's the congressional oath.
Yes.
The presidential oath is slightly stronger. It's preserve, protect, and defend.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
More of a commander in chief.
Yeah.
So that fellow was basically wrong.
Okay.
He tried to slide it by you, but, you know, I could hit the slider.
Okay, I'm glad you can.
Yeah, and this thing about the Joe Biden with the $200,000 loan repayment, the question is a very simple question. When he lent the money to his brother, where did it come from?
Good question.
I mean, you're talking $200,000.
Yeah.
That's not under Menendez's bed frame there. It's
right.
$200,000 that comes out of a bank account.
Yes.
And he gives it to his brother, and then they expect maybe interest to be paid. Otherwise, it's a gift, and both are taxable issues. But the idea of the $40,000 being paid right after that, and then he says there's not a smidgen or a scintilla of evidence. Well, $200,000 check that you signed,
yes,
and you said it's a loan. That's a lot of evidence.
Yes, it is.
And then the problem is the source of the money. If Hunter Biden spent over, they say, $2 to $5 million on his lavish lifestyle, well, if this is the case, that money had to come from somewhere.
It sure did.
And if it came from a foreign source, he's subject to the FARA rules, and
yes,
he's never registered as a foreign agent. And
yes,
you know, that's big.
Yes, that's right.
So I think they got him a lot of different ways. But the idea that Joe says that it's all lies, that I think that horse has already left the barn.
Yeah, it sure has. You know, he's probably going to get away with. Well, he's going to get a slap on the wrist somehow. But
what's your prediction? Do you think Joe Biden will be the nominee for the Democratic Party, or they're going to just force him out?
You know, I think he's going to run. I don't see him, you know, giving it up, because he said already he's planting the seed. He said, "Oh, is Trump running? I'm running too." But if Trump wasn't going to run, I wouldn't run. So, you know, I think he's going to run. I really do.
Yeah. They said they're fixing up the basement again, so he could run it out of the basement.
Yeah. And
he's not going to run; he's going to walk slowly.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'll tell you, John, you're in the situation where you're a little over 70, and I'm approaching 70, and these flus and these bugs are, you know,
yeah,
they get us more and more these days.
That's
so you
right.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks a lot, Dan. Appreciate it. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450, our number here in the studio. Bob is back. Bob and Cape May, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, I wanted to talk about the Republican National Committee and Ronna Romney McDaniel. But first, I want to get back to what you said about Philadelphia. All these big cities, these Democrat big cities with their Soros DAs, okay, they've legitimized, they've made stealing acceptable. They've taken the criminality out of stealing. So when you can steal, when the legal system, when the Democrats that control the big cities tell these young juveniles they can get away with stealing, well, that tells them that they can get literally away with murder too.
Yeah.
So the criminal justice system with these juveniles, they can kill, and they're out on the streets again in literally in a couple years. So no wonder that these cities have become hellholes.
Yeah.
And you know, the proper term is what Trump used to describe third world cities, and it begins with an SH holes, okay?
Yeah.
That's the proper term, and you know, you had that guest on a few months ago. He wrote the book, I believe it was named Untenable.
Yes, yeah.
And that is so true. That is so true. And, you know, it's no wonder that real estate values have skyrocketed in areas that are safe and areas that remind people of the way this country used to be. They're leaving. People that want to live normal, safe lives are flocking to towns that are safe, like Cape May, like Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, like the areas where I live in Florida in the winter. Okay, you have no crime there, John.
Yeah,
no crime.
That's right.
And now Siesta Key is not that way anymore. Siesta Key has changed. It's not like Philadelphia or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know, it's just amazing what's happening to this country and our once great cities. You think about this. I grew up in Philadelphia.
So did I.
Early years, and you know, we both did, right? And you know, I just marveled at the sweat and the labor that went into building those great neighborhoods, those factories. You know, they just didn't happen. And you know what? They were built by the sweat of European immigrants. Yep. That's who built these cities. Okay, that's not who destroyed these cities. That's just a fact. I don't care.
Yeah.
Call me a name. Call me a racist. I don't care. That's the reality.
That's right.
But you know, so look. Anyway.
By the way, Craig wants to know what the score is tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? I want the Eagles to win. I want them to win really badly. The problem is the NFL has really been unfair to the Eagles. They put the Eagles through a gauntlet of a schedule.
Yes.
Then San Francisco had a mini bye. They played on
Thanksgiving,
a Thursday night or whatever. Right? Yeah. They had a mini bye. Then Dallas has a mini bye. They haven't played in like 10 or 11 days.
Yes.
All right, same thing. So the Eagles have just been treated very unfairly by the NFL. It would be a gargantuan thing if the Eagles won. The problem is, John, the Eagles now have the 32nd ranked pass defense in the league. That is the worst. Okay.
Yes.
And Dak Prescott has been playing really well these last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been playing really, really well. It's going to be rough, and you know, Jalen Hurts has. It's probably because he's played some really great defensive teams, but he hasn't played that well lately. And what happened? The first play of the game last week was emblematic of Hurts not seeing the field or not pulling the trigger when he's got open receivers. The first play of the game, San Francisco has a really young rookie free safety, okay, who was doing a run blitz. And the Eagles had the perfect play call for that. The replacement tight end for the Eagles, Jack Stoll, they literally passed each other. This safety who was supposed to guard Stoll literally passed him on the way to playing a run blitz. Stoll was wide open. Hurts looked straight at him, didn't pull the trigger. Wound up having to hold the ball, running around, and he threw the ball away.
Yeah.
That's the first play of the game.
Yeah.
On the old 22 tape that focuses on the players, that's what it showed right there.
Yeah.
So Hurts is not playing that well right now, and he's regressed. And so my point is, hey, look, I'm hoping that Dallas loses, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, okay.
From an analytical viewpoint, I don't think it's going to happen. Okay.
All right. Well, okay, Bob. Thanks for the call. We'll see. It's going to be a dark day in the city and around South Jersey if they lose on Sunday. Eric and Margate. Eric, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
Good. Birds are going down, man. They're going down.
Oh.
Listen, I'm not a Dallas fan, but I'm a betting man, and the Birds are going down. They look like they're starting to struggle a little bit. And listen, I thought they based their schedule, like if you make it all the way to the Super Bowl, they make sure you have a hard schedule the following year. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. You have a first-place schedule the following year, yes.
Yeah, you have to face all the hard teams
yes,
again.
Yes,
so, yeah, I think that's how.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm worried about them when they go to Seattle. Seattle's the following week.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And they could get upset there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows?
The reason I called, did you hear Hunter Biden? He blamed us on Russian disinformation. John, what is it? Every time a Democrat gets in trouble, since the 2016 election, it's been Russian disinformation or Russian interference or Russian this, Russian that. That's their standard line.
Yeah, yeah.
It's unbelievable, you know?
Well, they ought to get another excuse.
Well, I guess if they keep saying the same lie, people just keep believing it, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Russian disinformation. He is really, to me, he is pathetic. I mean, Hunter Biden is pathetic.
Oh, it's sick.
I mean, he has been born with not only a silver spoon, but a golden spoon and another golden spoon in his mouth. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm for Trump, and DeSantis is a really good man. He's been a great governor. But the thorn in his side is he passed that bill about abortion for 6 weeks when he got reelected.
Yes.
And these people are so hung up on abortion that if he was the nominee, he'll lose because of this, because they're all wrapped up. They don't care who they vote in as long as it's about abortion.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, stop and think about it. It's an issue it's a hot button, but how many people does that really affect? I mean, I don't understand it. No.
I don't understand. Like, all right, if you can't get an abortion, listen, I'm not for abortion, but if you can't get an abortion in one state, you can run to New Jersey and get an abortion,
That's
or you
right.
can run some other state.
Right.
So what's the big issue
Yeah,
here?
I don't understand it. I really don't. People are passionate about that issue, and they will vote for anybody who's, on that one side of it. I just don't understand it.
They're getting all these young women to vote that way, no matter who they're voting in, whether they're going to destroy the country or not.
Yeah.
So it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, John, great to talk with you again.
Thanks for the call, Eric. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. Joe Yakovich, who came in an hour early. So now he has to occupy his time for an hour.
Thank you.
What does he do? Oh, I'll tell you. Well, he could he could paint the hallway here or something. We will get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City. I have definitely been procrastinating because I really don't know what to do with my car. My lease is up, and I got to get there this week and I got to figure out what I'm going to do, whether it's buy the car or lease another car or whatever. But look, that's my problem, and I'll tell you about it next week. Hopefully, I'll resolve it. But when you talk about the finest automobile on the market today, it is Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in the HT. And, you know, you can go online and look at the all of the models, aclexus.com, aclexus.com, and you can see for yourself what you would like to drive. But they have all kinds of cars for all kinds of needs. And besides, it's the December to Remember sales event. So what a great time of year to buy a Lexus from Lexus of Atlantic City or lease a Lexus. It doesn't matter. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. And hopefully I'll get there this week. You know what? Call me next week and make sure I got there. All right? That's what we'll do. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com. Coming back with more of your calls in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyAndProsperity.com. Last month, American Thinker published an article I wrote about the war in the Middle East. I call it 13 key facts about Israel that are known by very few Americans. I invite you to Google it or look it up at LibertyAndProsperity.com. One is that Palestine was never an Arab nation. It was the name that a Roman emperor gave to Israel after he crushed a Jewish rebellion there. Another is that most of Israel or Palestine was mostly empty malaria swamp and desert until about 100 years ago. Most Arabs did not move there until after Jews drained the swamps, watered the deserts, and planted trees and crops. Learn more about these and other important facts about Jews, Christians, and Arabs in and around Israel. Visit LibertyAndProsperity.com. Help us reach more people, join our weekly breakfast, donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. LibertyAndProsperity.com.
Holiday gift baskets and fruit baskets galore. That's what you'll find at B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, best of the press for gift baskets 9 years in a row, has the perfect way to celebrate the holidays for friends and family far and wide. Go to bfmazzio.com for a complete selection. Plus, there's a variety of holiday sides. You do the meal, we'll do the rest. That's the motto at B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and always online at bfmazzio.com. Happy holidays from B.F. Mazzio.
By the way, Joe Yakovich has brought us his homemade wine, and it's labeled and it's bottled. I'll tell you, it looks too good to open up. You'll open it, right, Chris? Oh, yeah. Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's go back to the phones. Greg and Absecon. Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Mr. Damasky, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yakovich, good morning. Little spin. I'm going to spin a little yarn.
Yes.
Burt Lancaster played Elmer Gantry, who was an evangelical minister.
Yes.
Billy Graham was an evangelical minister, charismatic speaker.
Yes.
Who filled stadiums to save people's souls, to get them to heaven.
Yes.
Trump's trying to get our votes to get us into the 23rd century. I think he'll accomplish that if we do vote for him.
Yes.
And the current government we're in, no longer a democracy. I don't know what the hell it is. But maybe Trump would want to return us to a republic. That would be something to chew on for a while.
Yeah, yeah, it sure would.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for the call, Greg. Michael in Egg Harbor City. Michael, good morning. Welcome to Talk with the Purpose.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello, John.
How you doing?
Hello?
Hello, you're on. Can you hear us?
No, I can't.
Oh, well, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. All right. And my call is concerning the Hunter Biden indictment. The indictments come with discovery. And once the discovery is made, it becomes public, or the hearings become public. it becomes public.
Yes.
Along with the impeachment process in the Congress right now, that once they begin, that also becomes public knowledge. Today's general public is unaware of the corruptness at the top. It's corrupt throughout the whole system, but it has to be stopped. And with the 4 indictments of former President Trump, it's all a masquerade, a distraction. And they talk about a democratic form of good democracy. They're putting their opponent in jail. I'm anxious, I'm comfortable knowing that the Republican candidate will be Donald Trump. And it's unfortunate that Governor DeSantis ran this cycle. My opinion is he should have waited to 2028, finished his governorship in Florida, and became Secretary of State for the last 2 years of the term of Donald Trump. That's my opinion, and it's a whirlwind of confusion, and we're truly blessed to have the freedoms that we have that the Democrats are constantly trying to take away from us.
Yeah, that's true.
You have a blessed day, John.
You too.
And
You too.
a pleasure speaking with you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I agree, but you see what you got to realize with DeSantis, and you said 2028. You know, he could be just, and I think he was, planting the seed. So he gets his name out there, and he's number 2 in the rankings now, or number 3, whatever you want to call it. And that doesn't really matter, but his name is out there, and now he doesn't have Trump in 2028, so you would think that he's the front runner in 28. That's my opinion, and that's why I think he ran now. You know, you run now, you're going to lose. Let's face it. But that's the play. 28. So we'll see. But we can only hope. We can only hope. Craig is back. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome back.
Well, boy, Bob didn't give us good news. That's for sure. I'll stick with the 3 points and hope, I'm hoping we can go in there and just fly out of there with a little piece of their meat.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
Anyway, so, to that end, okay, this week we had the hearings up there in New York still. Did you hear about it? You know?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right? Still going on?
Yeah.
But it's quiet because Hunter took it away. So, did you hear about the Harvard professor that had to testify?
Very, very briefly.
Okay.
I heard about the Penn professor. I heard about
No. In the Trump trial.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't hear that. No.
Oh, yeah. That's why he didn't make the news. So the professor comes in, he looks at all the books, and then he gives an analytical thing. And, the professor's from Harvard. So, did I say that right?
Yes.
Anyway, I should say, with a D. But
Harvard.
Anyway,
Harvard.
Where you can be a minority and not be a minority, and be a professor there. That's how smart they are. They don't even investigate the people that they're hiring there. So anyway, the Harvard professor came out, and he wanted to dig into Trump. You could imagine, but he had to say this. He goes, "Trump isn't worth $2.6 billion."
Okay.
And they all look, and you could hear a pin drop. What do you mean? He goes, he's worth $3.6 billion. He goes, his brand alone is worth $1 billion.
That's true. I think that's true. Yeah.
No, it's very true. Because who could sell more bobbleheads than Donald J. Trump?
That's
Let me
right.
ask you.
That's right.
There's a lot of those babies. Did you see that bobblehead with the little, the sunglasses?
Yeah.
Yeah. And T-shirts.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And the hats. Even the FBI bought his hats. Remember? Did you see that with the January 6th thing since they released that?
Yeah.
There were 2 white buses with FBI agents allegedly all dressed up with Trump hats on. Why would they have that on?
Yeah.
And if you notice, they're tracking down anybody that was in the field, but they still can't find the bomber that bombed the Democratic building, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. With all those cameras down there. But they caught everybody that just, was down there carrying an American flag. That was that's kind of special, don't you think?
Yes.
All right. I do want to say, DeSantis, some people really feel that this whole play with DeSantis is an actual rope-a-dope between Donald Trump and DeSantis, confusing the public, making them think that, DeSantis is against Trump, but actually sucking those donors that are against Trump dry. Now, that could be true.
Yeah.
So we could see what happens, because you notice he didn't say too much about Donald J. Trump this past debate.
No, he didn't. No.
He's got very quiet about Mr. Trump, hasn't he?
Yes.
All right. Let's see what happens. We got a trial coming up in Georgia. I can't wait.
It never ends, does it? It never ends.
No, he's got, listen, this is like OJ was a mini trial.
Yes.
We got We got 5 people. You're better off investing in a popcorn machine. Forget buying popcorn.
Yeah.
You're going to need the machine.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, John, talk to you.
Take
Have a great
it
day.
easy. Thanks for the call. 609-407-1450, a rare moment in the show where we have some open lines if you want to get in. No waiting. Isn't that amazing? No waiting. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. I mentioned earlier that Liz Cheney is going to run for the White House as a third-party candidate. Aren't you excited about that? She has promised she will do whatever it takes to prevent the former president from returning to office. I just don't know what she has against Donald Trump, except everything. But, I mean, what is this? What is this obsession? I don't get it. She said she's warning that Trump could transform America's democracy into a dictatorship. There's that word again. Dictatorship, if reelected. And as we talked about in the first hour, this word keeps floating around, saying that he will attempt to stay on longer than his term. So what is he going to do? Change the Constitution? Have an amendment to the Constitution? I mean, you know what that would take? That is a gargantuan task. And I don't even think Trump would take that on. So, this thing is out of control. And so is Liz Cheney. However, many are saying that a Cheney candidacy will take votes away from Biden rather than Trump. So what do you think? Will Liz Cheney take votes away if she's a third-party candidate? Will she take votes away from Trump, or will she take votes away from Biden? Or will she run at all? That's the question. But to say that he's going to change the Constitution, because he would have to change that because it's term limited, 2 terms. It would have to be, like I said, an amendment to the Constitution. Talking about changing the Constitution. That's a ridiculous thing. 609-407-1450. You can't make this stuff up. I always say that. You can't make it up. But Liz Cheney, I mean, is she delusional or what? First of all, she's going to run. And what makes her think she would win? I mean, she lost the election to be reelected in her district. She lost her district, so she's going to win the country? And let me tell you, if she's anything like her father, and he was the driving force in the second Bush administration, he was a bad guy. And I think Liz is a bad gal. So I hope we do not see her at all. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Again, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, best day of the weekend on tap. Enjoy those partly sunny skies. It'll be mild with a high 59. Becoming cloudy tonight, low dipping to 45, but temps rise into the upper 50s. Becoming windy or warm with rain and a thunderstorm tomorrow, mainly later in the day. Turning stormier at night with worsening travel due to heavy rain. High 66 tomorrow, the low tomorrow night, 39. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, you can listen to any of our shows at any time. It's a marvelous invention called Radio on Demand. You Google John DeMasi podcasts, and all of the recent shows come up, some 200 and some shows. I think it's 202 now, right? Hey, I tell you, we're really cooking. Just Google that, John DeMasi Podcasts, and you can listen to any of the shows at any time, whenever you want. 609-407-1450, our number here in the studio. Talk with a Purpose is the show every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and also heard online at WPGTalkRadio.com. We're talking about the House that they're going to vote next week on formally authorizing its impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Speaker Mike Johnson said this Tuesday. He said the House has no choice if it's going to follow its constitutional responsibility to formally adopt an impeachment inquiry on the floor so that when the subpoenas are challenged in court, we will be at the apex of our constitutional authority. How's that? That's according to Mike Johnson. He's the Speaker of the House. The White House has repeatedly dismissed the inquiry as a baseless exercise meant to appease right-wing lawmakers. We'll see.
You sure can.
We shall see. Is it a baseless exercise, or is it a legitimate thing? Who knows? We'll see on that one. Chuck and Absecon. Chuck, good morning. You're welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good.
Listen, you talk about Liz Cheney. See, what she suffers from is Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes.
Now, there's been many in the past that have had it. You know, Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
she got, she had the symptoms. Remember when she ripped up the State of the Union speech, with Rush Limbaugh, the whole bit, right?
Yep.
John McCain, way back in the beginning, right? Thumbs down. He sided with Obama and not with Trump to overturn Obamacare. So we're stuck with that. I mean, this is what Trump derangement syndrome does to people.
Yes, it does.
Now you have Liz Cheney, the whole January 6th fraud case that as time goes on and more evidence comes out, we're starting to see what a scam January 6th was.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're going to try this guy in court, ex-President Trump, that he made that happen. I mean, the fix is in on everything, John, regarding this guy. I mean, look at the way they went after General Michael Flynn in the beginning. Okay, and how Jeff Sessions recused himself from the whole Russian hoax thing.
Yeah,
which set all this garbage in motion. I mean, they tried to hamstring President Trump from the time that he was being inaugurated, and you had the vagina hats running around on the next block, lighting limousines on fire, rioting, and I mean. You have newspaper articles saying the impeachment process has begun. The guy wasn't even sworn in yet.
That's right. I remember that. The New York Times had an article that day, January 20th, and it said the impeachment process has begun.
Yeah, I mean, so, John, I look at these. I look at Nikki Haley and Chris Christie's another one.
Yeah.
Trump derangement syndrome on total display for everybody to see.
Yep.
I look at these other debates and it's like that's like Little League.
Yeah.
Okay, get Donald Trump in, whoever he's going to run against, Joe Biden. Let's get it. I mean, it's very simple to me, John. You look back under Trump, we didn't have the world on fire. We didn't have a war in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We didn't have a war in Europe. I mean, where's the call for the ceasefire with Russia and Ukraine? We just keep funneling money over there. The military-industrial complex keeps, flexing its muscle, and a lot of people are getting rich off of this money that we're just funneling to Ukraine.
Yep.
And finally, the Republicans have stood up and said, that's enough. Let's shut the border down, which is what the people want. I mean, John, you have no idea who's coming across this border.
That's right.
Right? And the call's been out. I mean, I hope people are aware of their surroundings, because what happened in Philadelphia at Macy's can happen anywhere.
That's right. And it's happening in other major cities. It is happening. Yeah.
All because they don't want to enforce law and order in this country anymore.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's probably because Trump is for it.
Yeah. I mean...
It's astounding. It's like I'm almost lost for words when I try to talk about this, because it's just so absurd to me what's going on. It's like we're living in Alice in Wonderland.
I agree. I agree.
Upside down, I'm looking for the Mad Hatter and the White Bunny to come hopping by. John, listen, have a great
day.
You too. I don't call that often, but there's a lot that's going on. People just open your eyes and you can see it.
That's right. That's right.
You realize that everything is by design, John.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything makes sense.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Chuck. We appreciate it. Yeah, the thing is, we're talking about the major cities. I mean, here's what we could do. We could do this. Let's say we go out to a department store and we pick, one or two or three major ones, and we steal $500. And then we steal $500 from another. As long as it's under $500, we get a ticket. But now we got the $500. So, hey, we're $500 to the good. We got to pay the fine, whatever it is, whatever. I mean, you think about that. And I mean, there's probably people that do that. And I go back to the story when I was a kid. 3 of my buddies, they stole a record a record back when they sold records. They stole a record from, and it was a 45 record. They stole a record. They got locked up. Their parents had to go get them. That doesn't happen today. I mean, today, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Get out of here. I mean, this is ridiculous, you know? It's ridiculous. Talk with a Purpose is a show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. More on the dictatorship of Donald Trump. He said last week that he was prevented from using the military in his first term to quell violence in a few cities. Remember that? I think it was Portland or whatever. They were calling New York City and Chicago crime dens, he told his audience. And this time, he says, I'm not waiting. While he's not spelled out precisely how he might use the military during a second term, Trump and his advisors said they would have wide latitude to do just that. Experts have said that Trump would have few restraints. Now, I think he should have called in the National Guard during those George Floyd riots. And you remember they told him, oh, no, we don't want that. We don't want the National Guard. We'll handle it ourselves. And it was like 6 months of riots in Portland or one of those cities. The thought of the military taking over some cities might fuel the dictatorship theory. Could you see the Democrats saying this now? Oh, well, Trump is going to be a dictator. He's going to call in the military. We're going to have a military state. You know, this is ridiculous. If there is some problems in some cities, any city, and he calls in the National Guard for a few days or a few weeks, whatever, so be it. If it's necessary, so be it. By the way, there is a thing called the Insurrection Act, and it was put out a long time ago. It allows presidents to call on the reserve or active military duty to recall those military units to respond to unrest in the states. And this is an authority that is not reviewable by the courts. So you see, there's an opening here should Trump, if he gets into office again, and should the need rise for military, he doesn't have to worry about a court order because it's not subject to court orders. So could he do that? Yes. Should he do that? Yes. And would he do that according to theories and what he says now? Yes. But I'm concerned, and if it's appropriate, it's fine. But you see the Democrats saying, oh, he's the dictator. He's the dictator. He's got dictator tendencies. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Who knows? Who knows what? You see what I'm saying? Like, in certain cases, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. But he should do it. And that's all I'm saying. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. A couple of open lines here. Rare moment on the show. 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll have some more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
This holiday season, come celebrate in Hamilton. It's the blueberry capital of the world and so much more. Celebrate the taste with cuisine to satisfy any palate. Italian, Mexican, Asian, and traditional American specialties. Celebrate the spirit. Wineries, breweries, distilleries. Your choice of over a dozen places to sample local tastes. Celebrate the arts, Eagle Theater shows, and live music in so many venues. Celebrate the day. Celebrate the night. Celebrate the season. Fireman's Parade tonight, third Thursday on December 21st, and Hamilton's New Year's Eve Bash, and much more. This holiday, bring the family and celebrate Hamilton. This message from the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce is supported in part by a grant from the New Jersey Department of State, Division of Travel and Tourism.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose. If you want to email me during the week, you certainly can do that. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. You can email me anything you like. Program suggestions, pro or con. We take them all on, and we welcome your email. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Time for a couple of more calls here. 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. Joe Biden is determined to get this student loan relief, even though it has been disapproved and even though it is supposedly unconstitutional. He's doing everything he can because, look, let's face it, he figures if he gets students off the hook, they'll vote for him. It's as simple as that. The House again voted to rebuff Joe Biden on his student loan reliefs. Representative Lisa McClain, she called the Biden administration's student loan relief plan the most expensive regulation in our nation's history. The House passed a measure this past Thursday that would block implementation of a new Biden administration student loan repayment option tied to income. So what they're trying to do, the joint resolution under the Congressional Review Act targets an educational department rule that includes family size and income. The option would allow borrowers who have earnings of less than $15 per hour to pay zero. Again, Lisa McClain, she says, this new regulation, ironically dubbed the SAVE Plan, is the most expensive regulation in our nation's history and is a backdoor attempt to ram the administration's socially free college fantasy down the throats of hard-working taxpayers. Oh, boy. Not only does this plan shift the cost of loans from the borrower, the person who actually took out the loan, it shifts the cost to the person who never took out the loan to begin with the taxpayer, but also will make college more expensive. So if you didn't take out the loan, you're on the hook. You know what? Only the Biden administration would come back to really put this thing out there again. You know, the old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, we were wondering where he went, and here he emerges. John in Ocean City. John, we were wondering. Hey, where have you been?
Haven't been feeling too well, but I'm okie doke.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Now, Julius Caesar, when he had turned 30, he had stood before a statue of Alexander the Great, and he lamented that by the time Alexander the Great had turned 30, he had already conquered the world. So we have two dictators there that were in their 30s. And see, Mao Zedong was a late starter. He conquered China. He took over China when he was about 54, 55 years old. But you mean to tell me a 78-year-old man is going to set himself up as dictator of America? He got to a late start. He got too late of a start, I think, at President Trump. And, as far as Trump derangement syndrome goes, just talk to people that vote left, and they'll fly into a rage. I've already tried to have conversations with them. I can't have a normal conversation with somebody that suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. But as far as the propaganda machine that puts that out, I don't believe that they have Trump derangement syndrome. They just know that he's a threat to them. That's all. And does anybody get wise to the fact that we have a $33 trillion national debt, a fiscal debt? Does anybody get wise? In 1966, we had a 6% GDP, which is healthy, and 56% of that was export. We were exporters. Now we have to beg, borrow, and steal at this point. You know, that's what our politicians have been reduced to.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we want to vote in President Trump with the mess that we're in? And Darth Vader Cheney, his daughter, is the chip off the old block, it looks like. Thanks for letting me call in.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. That's a good one. Darth Vader Cheney. That is really good. I really like that. If you have you got a thought here, you got to jump in real quick. 609-407-1450. You know, we're getting back to this. The Senate rejected a companion to this House resolution before Thanksgiving about this student loan forgiveness. The Supreme Court ruled in June it was unconstitutional. So now they're coming up with ways to try to pass this, and I don't think they're going to. How many times can you skin a cat before it just goes to show you, Biden, he just wants to buy votes, and with his approval rating, what is it, 36% the last time we looked? It's unbelievable. He'll try anything now. The student loan forgiveness, to me, should be put to bed. I mean, that's it. You're not going to forgive, and that's it. Unbelievable. How they still try and try and try, and they still don't come up with the plan. 609-407-1450, that's our number here. We're getting ready for Joe Yakovich, who has been, milling around here in the studio for an hour. He doesn't know what to do with himself. But we're going to put him to work for the next hour because he's going to give us the year in review, what we should be doing year end. We should be doing a lot of things. So Joe Yakovich coming up at 11 o'clock this morning here on Talk with a Purpose. In the meantime, we put hour number 2 in the books, and hour number 3, as we said, will Joe Yakovich really be able to harness his energy? We'll see. Oh, hour number 2 is in the books, hour number 3 on the way, and as you know, we always say, whether it's Joe Yakovich or anything else, hour number 3 is on the way. Don't go away.
.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. This is the hour. We call it the Joe Yakovich Hour.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like that sound effect?
I'm telling you, I'm
He
very...
does his own sound effects.
I feel like I'm floating right now from that, Very nice.
You came in an hour early, so you get brownie points? I mean, you don't get brownie points here.
Usually I'm late, but today I'm early a little bit. How about it?
We are going to talk about, this is Joe's final appearance of the year. So, we got to get it all in.
Correct.
This week.
As much as we can.
We're closing out 23. Prepare for the year ahead.
Mm-hmm.
We are here with ways to help you maximize your savings, minimize your tax bill, and stay on track with your financial goals.
Perfect. I don't know who gave that to you, but that guy who just shared that with you, that guy must be a borderline genius.
It must be.
And John, it's funny or not funny, but what you've been saying, geopolitical, it all affects what we do as individuals, that how we save money and how we retire and all the other things that we're going to be talking about as much as I can to cover today. I have a couple of call-ins possibly that I want to listen to what they had to say or will be saying. But just to give you a little update, because of what's going on, we have a good, strong labor market. So when I started to prepare for the show, John, I was really going to talk to people about, looking in the future, in the next quarter or two, that interest rates, we're going to possibly come down. But then when you look at the Jay Powell, but what's going on, and because of labor cost, even though inflation is still going on, and I've been talking about trying to get it down to 2% and what have you, the concern of mine is, can we afford, as an individual, because of the less and less money that we're getting or we're receiving, afford to retire comfortably? And one of the things I want to share with people is that the market looks extremely strong moving forward for this quarter and next quarter. Technology has been on fire, John. I mean, it's amazing what's been going on. But increasing confidence to get back to inflation is going to be really an issue with most people. And that's really going to start to affect us if you're thinking about retiring in the next 5 to 10 years, and how inflation is going to really start to erode. And people do not like inflation, John. It's like it's a death trip to them because it really costs them more money. But more importantly, John, I want to share this with you. I just showed this to you. I just got a bill in the mail, John, from my doctor, just to prove a point. And the bill it was a regular checkup I had. They did a couple of things at it. They did for my own self, they did an EKG on me, checked me out. They asked a question, John, and I don't even know how, $42. They asked me a depressionary question. How do you feel? I feel great. That cost $42, by the way. And hold on, let me back up. Let me give you another one. And underneath that, John, because they didn't ask me before I came in the office, it's an extra cost of $39 on top.
So for what?
Because they didn't ask me before then. They didn't schedule that question when I was going to come in the office. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, I added everything up, John. It came up close to $1,000. The guy was with me, my doctor was with me, no kidding, less than 15 minutes, which is fine. $1,000, I paid a very minimum cost, I think $15. But my point to everyone listening to me, this is going to be a ripple effect because it's healthcare. And it costs more for healthcare moving forward. So as we retire, even now, healthcare is
it's through the roof.
And where's it going? So how much of money that we have will pay for these things in the future? It could be long-term care, Medicare, whatever. It's going to cost us more money. And because of inflation, it's really going to eat into our lifestyle. I think the American public right now is a little concerned, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't really want to speak and think like sometimes I do. Now, I'm passionate of what I do. I have clients that I just met the other day, 91. And I spoke with her, and I was like, wow, this is really a kind of a cool case. And she said, after about 10 minutes, she goes, Joe Yakovich, I trust you implicitly. And because I received her from her son, referred her to me. But it was interesting just to having a conversation of people at 90 years old and how they think. And it was intriguing because it's funny, I hate to say this, they think a little like me on what their beliefs is. They're afraid to go out to the public because of certain things that could happen that they read. So we get this mindset of almost being afraid, and you're seeing it now. New York, Philadelphia, Chicago. I don't have to say anything to you. You know what's going on, and it's upsetting to me. So just letting people understand, we're going to have less and less discretionary income, and do you have a game plan in place to pay for these things? And we do have a strategy, bar none. But one thing I want to share with everyone at the end of the year is that there's one way to keep track of this, and that's what we believe. Keep track of the money you spend. Really make a budget so we know moving into 2024, because we're going to be, I don't know if you know this or not, John, we're going to be in a presidential election. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be tweaked and turned, and one of the things you mentioned was the cost for colleges. It's $1.7 trillion. That's what colleges are costing people in general. I say, John, it's real easy. It's simple to me. Cut the cost for the price of school, and instead of charging us 6-7%, charge 2%. If the government wants to help us, and if Mr. Biden wants to help us, guess what? Instead of just letting it go, you know what? We're not going to charge you the VIG to rip you off at 6-7%. We're going to charge you 1%.
Makes sense.
I mean, think about it. I'm not asking for a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, go back to the colleges and say, by the way, you're not going to charge $50,000 or $100,000. They're going to charge $25,000. Be fair. Because their endowments are unbelievable, but they haven't talked about that yet. And that bothers me because part of what I do and talk to people, when I'm speaking to people about debt, to get them out of debt, I look at their debt window and I go, oh, whoa. You got how much? 60,000 or 100,000 or whatever, you're trying to become. Doctor, could be an engineer, whatever. That's a big cost, and they're not getting any deductions because of it. So if the government really wants to help us, lower the cost, the juice, the interest rate, and by the way, John, make it deductible if they really want to make it. So instead of whacking us for 170 and doing away with it and trying to get elected, which is manipulative to me, just say, listen, we're going to lower the cost for you to borrow that money.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense.
I mean, to me, it's common sense. I'm not saying I have a PhD in common sense, mind you, but it's really focusing on helping people move down the road on how they're going to spend and how they're going to save. And it really, for us, for you and me and Chris here, it's important because it's not like what it used to be, 20 years ago.
All right, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. This is the Joe Yakovich Hour.
Yo.
Joe Yakovich is here, and he's talking finances, and he's getting us ready for the new year. Wow.
Yes, sir.
And some year-end tax planning. 609-407-1450 if you have a question for Joe. 609-407-1450. You talk a lot about RMDs.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the year.
Yes, sir.
How important is it now? I mean, we got a couple of weeks. Do we have to make them now, or what is this situation?
Well, the RMD, the required minimum distribution, you must take them before the end of the year. So you have those 70 and 73, actually, to take your RMD. So if you want to act, just don't forget, before the end of the year, if you are turning 73 this year, taking the RMD first is most important. But you do have till April 1st of 2024 to withdraw your RMD. So after that, you take it, and on a calendar year. Again, if you do not take the RMD, the required minimum distribution requirement from certain types of retirement accounts, such as traditional IRAs and qualified retirement accounts, you're going to be taxed or be penalized at 25% if you do not take it. We help it. We do it with you. We, pretty much hold your hand through the steps. But once it's done the first year, John, it becomes really simple. It's not a complicated subject, but we put it on almost automatic, and it happens every year at this time. So it becomes really ongoing, helpful for the individual that's going to get their distribution from their qualified, which is the IRAs and 401ks that they're able to take from. So wants everybody to understand that. I wanted to also address, John, something, especially now. This is the end of the year stuff. So I want to make sure everyone, if they're putting dollars away, don't forget your contributions, your IRA contributions or your 401k contributions. Make sure they have them and prepare, making sure you have the money in before December 31st of 2023 to make that contribution as an employer plan. So again, something to think about. Make sure you're on top of that, and check out some of the things that we'll give all of you on our website at JML Financial Group. Besides the books we have written, Heart of Your Money and Bulletproof Your Retirement and Wealth Beyond Taxes that we have currently available. Great stock and little stuffer for your stocking. But at the end of the day, my job is to do as much as I can to give information to people so they make an evaluation for themselves. How are they doing? What does it look like in the future? Are they paying too much in taxes? Inflation is going to start to come up on them. And they don't realize it because, remember, John, most of the people we talk to, there's still accumulation of money. They're still trying to accumulate dollars, but the ones that are starting to get out of the business, so to speak, they're going to have to take money from places other than Social Security or pensions. They're going to have to understand to take the distribution from these assets. It doesn't have to wait till 73. They can, take it beforehand if they're 59 and a half. And it's important for them to understand that it is all taxable to you. So taxes are going to run havoc. And going forward, I was reading something the other day, John, and it really made me start to think. And think about this for our listeners. We have a very complicated tax environment, the Internal Revenue. You know what I think is going to eventually happen? I think the cost to administrate the IRS is costing us too much money for an American public to pay for. I think eventually they'll simplify it and make it a flat tax. Now, some folks will believe that and not believe that, but at the end of the year, or at the end of the, what we do every day with our clients, it's complicated to do all these tax strategies because it's always changing, and it doesn't stop changing. So we believe eventually it will be a flat tax down the road, and so we want to make sure we are preparing people like Roth IRAs and conversions and so forth.
What happens if you don't do anything?
It's like your cough right now. If you don't do anything, I'm going to hit you with a bat. That could be one solution, right?
Yeah.
Or I can give you water.
Yeah.
Or a throat lozenge. Or, I'm giving you choices, or do nothing. So you would rather cough and get over yourself and your throat. But if you address the fact as we move forward with certain things, it's going to cost them more money. People will cost more money. And how do they live the lifestyle they're accustomed to? Because we don't know, again, with geopolitical things that are happening, and we all can't believe all the things that are happening in our country. It is affecting us. Energy prices right from the start. And how is it going to affect us? Our energy being electric, gas, and gas, just not the gas we receive in our home, but also gasoline. So the concern of mine is make sure that the things that we talk about are tax efficient or tax free. So when I'm talking about converting your IRAs into a Roth IRA, you pay the tax now, which we know what it is. In the future, do you know what taxes are going to be in the future?
No.
And when you factor in inflation, it's almost impossible your taxes are going to go down. They could change the game on us. So when I hear people go, oh, no, we're going to be in a lower tax bracket, who told you that? If you just heard what Biden said, and I'm not saying good or bad or ugly, but he's trying to do things that, that doesn't happen that way. You're not allowed to do certain things. So I'm concerned with these type of radical conversations. And I'm really a person that wants to see goodness from people's money. Good investment, good portfolio agreement. Like right today, or this month especially, you're talking about making sure we diversify, we rebalance at this time. Not all portfolios get rebalanced, John. It's amazing to me. I see some cookie cutter stuff, and it blows me away that the person that they're working with haven't talked to them in years. We automatically, at least once a year, to get with our clients. It could be a Zoom, could be in person. Like right now, the missus is seeing one of our clients in our Northfield office. And doing business with that individual because of that way we have thought about ourselves. We're bigger than U.S. Steel. We can do anything. We can talk to people all over the country about certain things that we're able to. And one of the reasons, John, really, it comes down to this because I was talking to one of my doctor clients the other day. And I said, what I'm fortunate about, and I'm blessed. Everybody has a gift. And the gift I have was the ability to, don't believe I can't even say this, but I was able to pass a couple of different tests early on in my career. Equity test, Series 7, and insurances. So I kind of sit on the top of the fence when I'm talking to people about equity investment, portfolio management. And then I have on the other side of the coin, I can also talk to them about insurance, life insurance, disability, long-term care, Medicare insurance. So it really encompasses both sides of the fence, and it really gives me the power to be able to really holistically and view somebody's portfolio and include Social Security. When should you take it, for instance?
Yeah.
Now, you took it differently, and I'll tell you why. You did it because you're not married. If you were married, you probably wouldn't have done that.
Yes.
You know that.
That's right.
And we talked about that.
Yes.
But if you're married, because people ask me, I said, when did you take it? I took it at 62. I said, you realize you're losing over $100,000 because you took it at that time. What happens when you pass and that transfers to your wife? You're going to put her in a lesser money situation. Nobody ever talks about that.
Yep.
So we look at the whole picture with people, and it's really, for me personally, it's pretty easy. I mean, it really is. And I have my son working with me doing debt for us to try to get people out of debt super fast. We had the new book we wrote. So we look at encompasses the whole picture to make sure people are working at top performance, the most efficient way possible.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Shoot, baby.
And you're going to, after the break,
yep,
you're going to go through your books.
Yep.
You're like James Patterson. He writes books all the time, bestsellers. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi with Joe Yakovich. Joe is JML Financial. His website, jmlfinancialgroup.com. And we'll give out his number in his office and all that good stuff and books and you name it. We'll do it. And we'll do all of that after these words.
Holiday gift baskets and fruit baskets galore. That's what you'll find at B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, best of the press for gift baskets 9 years in a row, has the perfect way to celebrate the holidays for friends and family far and wide. Go to bfmazzio.com for a complete selection. Plus, there's a variety of holiday sides. You do the meal, we'll do the rest. That's the motto of B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and always online at bfmazzio.com. Happy holidays from B.F. Mazzio.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose. Joe Yakovich is here, and Joe is available during the week. Yes, you can call him at 856-751-1771. That's his number in the office, 856-751-1771. You call him and, he can meet with you, and there's no cost for the initial consultation. He can meet you in person, over the phone, via Zoom, whatever you want, 856-751-1771. And we will now tax Joe with his books. Yes, he is a prolific author. Your books are...
Well, the obvious one is Heart of Your Money, and that's also a podcast that we do, Don. We do the podcast every other week. We have a studio in my office in Cherry Hill. So we do a podcast, my son and I. We almost duplicate some of the information that we share on your show to our audience. So we have a nice following there. Bulletproof Your Retirement, again, a book that complements my Heart of Your Money book. Wealth Beyond Taxes book. And the newest one I put together is Debt-Free for Life. I want to make sure, because as I evaluate people's portfolios and I evaluate people in general, I find out, I ask the question, how much debt do you have? And they kind of look away a little bit, John. And then I start to uncover, the credit cards that they're paying, who knows, 18, 19, whatever percent. The car loans, the student loans, the mortgages, the boat loans. So, and you add all that up, John, and what we do is we calculate the efficient interest cost of what the banks are really making on that person's loan. So we try our best to share with them how we can accelerate this with no more money out of pocket by using a strategy that we find that the infamous Dave Ramsey have put together, but he doesn't complete it with another added feature to it. So we believe by getting you out of debt in half the time, John, we'll give you a better lifestyle. We'll give you more money to save and do the things you really, truly want to do. So that's a big thing with ours. So they're the books. And again, like you said earlier, jmlfinancialgroup.com is our website. And you can check us out and you can look around and, learn some things there. I have some people talking about what we do on my website. So we're pretty excited about that.
Okay. I got a question.
Sure, buddy.
If you had to tell me or our audience...
Sure.
One thing that we should do now to really right our financial ship, what would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one, John. I said everyone that has any qualified money, IRAs, 401ks. I want all of us gradually before the Trump tax law goes away, but we don't know that because that's going to go away on 12/31/2025. So we still have time, and I believe that because of it's a presidential election, they might massage that a little longer. But to be able to, at the end of the year, as much as we can, is convert what we call a Roth conversion. So you want to start to convert your IRAs and your 401ks into a Roth, which you pay the tax today because we know what it is. And then you can start to realize, okay, does it put me in a higher bracket or does it keep me in the same bracket to do so? thereby doing that, you will never pay tax on the money. You don't have to worry about an RMD on the money. And then it's a discussion that we would have with you on where we now would invest the money for you. And that's one of the things that we specialize. So the RMDs, the required minimum distribution, is incorporate with that. So you don't have to have an RMD anymore. You just roll the money over to a Roth and there's no more RMDs. It's off the table. So the most important thing, John, is the conversion into a Roth from a IRA or a 401k, because of the simple reason all of us do not know what taxes will be in the future.
And once you pay that tax, it's done.
It's done. It's done. And it's also transferable. So if anything does happen with that individual, the money doesn't go to the family. They have to pay tax on it. So it really is a really interesting concept. It wasn't so for a while, but now it's becoming more prevalent in our marketplace to be able to do that. Remember, when we sit down with folks, we actually, and it's almost every single time, we ask them, who's your accountant? And we try to introduce ourselves to that individual to do the tax planning for them. But we're proactive, not reactive. I'm not looking in the rear view mirror. I'm looking at the windshield to see somewhat down the road. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but if all of us understand my philosophy on how I accumulate money, how I share with you different strategies that you might want to look at. Nothing to be forced, but I want you to give you options. And most of the people that I talk to, some of them never heard some of these options. And I said, well, why haven't you? Well, my guy doesn't do that, or my gal doesn't do that. I said, why? I mean, think about it. I mean, think about what I'm saying to you. It just, to me, common sensory that someone that you need to be working with will look at all the variables that is appropriate for someone going into retirement. If you're not, you're in trouble. So,
I guess it's people don't know what they don't know. Correct. So how could they ask their advisor if he doesn't bring it up or she doesn't bring it up? How could they ask them? Because they don't know.
Well, you know what? It's a great question or a great comment, because the question I find is that they should know, or they should find, like us, having us on the radio or meeting us through accountants, or get another opinion from someone. Just don't go to one person, because a lot of the stuff that I see is cookie cutter. I look at it and go, that's the same one that I saw yesterday or the day before. I'm saying, this is amazing. Now, the name is, pretty relevant, the name they're working with, the company, but I'm going, that doesn't really help you. It helps the financial institution. It helps the individual that's telling you that, but it doesn't help you as much. And that's where I have that conversation with people. Yeah.
Okay, we got to go to the phones. Rich in Summers Point. Rich, you're on with Joe Yakovich.
Hey, Rich.
Hello. I'd like to ask a question about the Roth IRA. When you convert that, there's a 5-year period where you can't take
Correct.
it out without a penalty.
Yeah, the only thing is, Rich, you can't do it, but it's going to, you could get slapped on the amount that when you roll that over, you got to lock it up for 5 years. But that's what I'm saying to you. There's certain monies as you do, Rich. I don't do the whole thing at one time. And one of the reasons, and you make a good point, Rich, I do a little bit at a time. You follow me? So if I do one, the next year I might do a little bit more. But I always want to make sure, Rich, when I sit with someone like yourself, we have the adequate income to move forward with that strategy. You follow me? And I don't want to just roll all of it and you're out of luck for 5 years. I mean, the only thing you're going to be taxed on is that little portion of the money. But again, if we're in markets like we are, down markets, it's a great opportunity to do this. But we want to make sure we don't put you in a higher tax bracket, Rich, today. If that makes sense?
Yeah. Does that refer to all the money or just the money you put in?
What I do, Rich, I do a little bit at a time. I don't want to cut off your arm. I would just cut your fingernails first. A little bit at a time I do, and that has to be what you're going to be prepared for the following year to pay those taxes. So I don't want to bump you up in a higher tax bracket. But at the end of the day, Rich, remember, pensions, Social Security, and all the investment that the government was supposed to help us is all going to be ordinary income tax. And who controls the strings here? Now, if we need more money, Rich, what do you think they're getting it from? I'll tell you what they're getting it from, Rich. Guys like you that were successful, You want the carpet to save money for yourself and your family, and you have a major target on your back. So Joe Yakovich has to say to himself, okay, how do I make sure that we're in a UFC fight and all the situations that could happen to us down the road? So I'm always preparing for certain things. And again, as I said, I'm not a crystal ball reader, just to let you know. But I do read, Rich, even before I got on the show here. I was reading the last night, and tonight I got so excited I got here early. But I'm always well read on certain things that are happening in our economic environment. And I share that with you purposely, like technology, Rich. Technology has been on fire for a while, and AI is going to change the game. I'm afraid to tell you that. And people need to know that. So what do? I don't get all hyped into the AI and by these companies. I want to make sure that you know and I know which companies are proactively invested in these type of things that are happening. We can't stop it, Rich. You can't stop it. It's coming. It's coming. And people want to, put their heads in the sand. That's not my client. My client is continuously to educate you with small tidbits like the book, like the radio show, like my podcast. And when you meet with me, I'm open to what your philosophy is. And I will tell you from experience, Rich, I kid you not, my friend, I give you the opportunities to tell me what's important to you. If you think that you can do this and you factor in some inflation, and inflation is man, it's like getting bit by a snake. It doesn't hurt right away, and all of a sudden, like 30 minutes later, you don't feel too good. And I need people to start to recognize. I'm not here to scare you. That's not my strategy. My job is to make sure I lay it out for you. And whatever makes sense for you, your family, you might be getting an inheritance. I have to factor that in. If I don't do the inheritance thing correctly, guess what happens? You get banged with taxes. So all these things I try to share with you besides implementing investment portfolios predicated on your risk. And also, Rich, you'll hear them at the end of the show. I'm a big believer. Some of your money, Rich, has to be pension-like. Has to be guaranteed. I cannot continue to see this roller coaster ride. If you're working, doesn't hurt you. But when you start to retire, Rich, and when you have a down market and you take money out, and by the way, Rich, you say, well, Joe Yakovich, I won't take the money out there. There's only one problem, though, Rich. What happens if you're 73? It's mandatory distribution. So think about what I'm saying to you. If the market goes down and you're forced to take money out of a declining market, Rich, you're running out of money. And with my plan, that ain't happening. No. That don't work that way with me.
I have one more quick question.
Go ahead.
I would assume you want your dividend-paying stocks in the Roth because then you won't have to pay tax on it.
Correct. And also, Rich, it's funny you say that. It's also a good idea if you're doing any kind of charitable giving and such, to use that as a component for charitable giving. Could be your children, because right now you're allowed to gift without any gift tax or gift assignment, $17,000 per child. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat here. It really is. And I try to do my best to lay some of the things out that apply to you, age, income, if you have a pension, not have a pension, you're getting Social Security, when should you take it, when you should not take it, how's your health? I mean, I juggle a lot of balls, and you say, well, how the hell do you do that, Joe Yakovich? Well, you know what, Rich, I've been doing this for a long time. It's like a sport to me. If you're going to run, you're not running past me. I'm going to hold my hands out so you don't run past me. And we have this problem with football, but understand my job is to make sure I evaluate the whole field that it works best for you, because every person, Rich, is a little different.
Okay, Rich?
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
Hey, Rich, thanks for calling, buddy.
Thanks a lot for the call. All right, I got some questions, but we're coming up on a break.
Yeah,
And
baby.
you will certainly answer the questions after the
I
break.
can't wait, Johnny.
Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Joe Yakovich is here, and he's ready to talk to you at 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi with Joe Yakovich. We're coming back after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently number one when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, best day of the weekend on tap. Enjoy those partly sunny skies. It'll be mild with a high 59. Becoming cloudy tonight, low dip at 45, but temps rise into the upper 50s. Becoming windy or warm with rain and a thunderstorm tomorrow, mainly later in the day. Turning stormier at night with worsening travel due to heavy rain. High 66 tomorrow, the low tomorrow night, 39. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, again, Joe Yakovich is on with us. His final appearance of 2023.
I'm starting to cry right now. I'm starting to cry right now just thinking about you.
Jeez.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Joe Yakovich, available during the week, 856-751-1771. That's his number, 856-751-1771. And his website, jmlfinancialgroup.com. jmlfinancialgroup.com is the website. You can get his books and all of that good stuff. And you want to meet with him before the year's end, certainly call him there, and he'll be happy to meet with you, whether it's by phone or in person or by Zoom. He can do it any which way that you would like. 856-751-1771. Okay. Joe Yakovich is here, and if you have a question, 609-407-1450. I want to go back to Rich's question.
Sure.
Okay. Because I didn't quite understand it.
You did not understand?
All right.
Go ahead.
So let's just say you have $100,000.
Yes.
And you're going to convert to a Roth IRA.
Yes.
How much do you put in there right away?
You can put all or a percentage of it. And I'll tell you why. Because remember, when you receive that 100 and you move the money from a qualified plan, which is the IRA, and you move it over to a Roth IRA conversion, that 100,000 is ordinary income.
Okay.
So whatever tax bracket you're in, if you're making $50,000 or $100,000, now you made $200,000 for that year. So there's a couple of different strategies here. You ready? Let's suppose you had a down year this year. Maybe your income wasn't as high as it was prior years. So you might want to convert a percentage or all of that 100 because you are in the same tax bracket. I normally will talk to a client, if I'm not going to put you in a higher tax bracket, let's take the 100 and not take all of it. Let's take a percentage of it. Let's take 25,000. Let's take 50,000. Whatever it may be, John, I will convert that portion of the money. Like, for instance, 2023, we convert it for 2023, okay?
Yes.
But in 2024, guess what happens, John? I can then convert the remaining because it's two different calendar years. You follow me? So at this year-end situation, if I'm going to convert an IRA to a Roth IRA, I'm going to pay ordinary income tax for 2023. But when 2024 comes around, guess what I do? I can convert it, another portion of it, and that will be taxable for that year. You follow me? So the portion that you tax, John, or the portion you convert, that's when the Uncle Sands will slap your hand. So I have to evaluate, okay, where are you in the scheme of things? Are you want to put you in a higher tax, or do you want to pay more taxes for that year versus next year? It depends on the individual, because, I don't have to tell you, there's some people, matter of fact, I went to are you ready for this? A Tropicana reunion at one of my favorite places in Boca, and I met some of the people there. They were all getting ready or in this process of retiring, mind you. And I was explaining to some of them, and as quickly as I could, about some of the things that we do. Check me out, go look out, call the show, what have you. But the premise behind what I've heard is that, how do I do this? I don't know. Nobody's going to take my hand and walk down, what they need to do, because it's all been, most of it has been done for them, through 401ks, they take it out of their check and they don't even think about it. Well, our philosophy is a little different. It's a little harder in the beginning to get this thing up and running in terms of conversion and saving money into Roth versus non-Roth. But it all comes down to, John, how much tax are they willing to pay that year, that particular year, 2023, to determine how much we will convert. You follow me?
Yes.
You can do the whole 100 or you do a little bit of it.
Okay, so let's say this year.
Yes, sir.
I convert 50,000 of my 100.
Correct.
That's taxable.
Correct. Ordinary income tax.
Okay. And then next year, the other 50,000.
Correct, and will be for.
Okay.
You follow me? So, you get a chance to, and because at the end of the year, it's a perfect strategy to do at this point. Because of the year-end situation.
Okay, we have one of your mentors.
Who?
Van Miller.
Oh,
is
from
on the line.
Wisconsin. Can we pick him up?
We got him.
Big V.
Hey, Big Joe, how you doing?
Not as good as you, baby. What's going on?
Well, I'm pretty excited. I was listening to your show, and amazing information you're sharing with everybody. And just make sure, if I can just give one little Christmas surprise.
Do not be afraid. You can do it, baby.
Make sure that you ask your audience. In a world where discretionary money is becoming less and less, where even people making $150,000 a year, almost 50% of them are living paycheck to paycheck, which means there's quite a number of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
What if there was a way that you could cover and eliminate or reduce higher taxes? What if you could replace lower benefits, which I'm sure are coming with health care and with Medicare and with all of these other issues, where you could deal with the serious threat of inflation. Inflation is actually much higher than what they tell you, because it's really funny. I hope everybody that's listening will laugh. When they give you the government's inflation number, it doesn't include food costs, energy costs, or healthcare costs.
Right.
My
I seem to forget that.
And then finally, a couple of other things. I just came out of an appointment with a family who they're going to need care because one of the parents has dementia. And they're not going to be able to afford to put him in a home. So that means one of the children is actually going to have to stop working to help care for the family member, and it's causing problems. Well, if you talk to an insurance and financial professional like a person like Joe Yakovich, he can show you that there's actually a way, no kidding, that you can, with the same dollar, take a look at covering or offsetting or improving every one of those things that I just talked to you about. And let me go further. This is important. And if for some reason you never need any of those things, you didn't waste one single dollar on the coverage. You only use the benefit if you need the benefit, but you lose the benefit of saving for the future and having money for a quality retirement. So you can kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone if you know how to effectively and efficiently use your dollars in today's world. Because please, everybody out there, please listen to me. Is the government going to need more revenue in the future? Of course they are. With everything that's going on in our world, with all the social issues, with all of the mass shootings, with all the climate change, with all the money we're going to need for Social Security and Medicare and so forth and so on. So let me ask you something. What is your strategy to make sure that you're in control, that you're in charge of how much they can take rather than letting them be in control of how much they take?
You know, it's funny you say that, Randy. It's funny you say that and dovetail into this because the culture that we have been involved with, you and I, for so long, you longer than me, believe it or not, I'm 40 years. You know, it wasn't like it is today, and you're seeing the majority of people that we run into only would do a 401k. That was their holy grail, and Social Security. You follow me? So what you're saying is
tell them when they first started it was reasonable because the tax rates were much higher.
Correct.
But the tax rates are much lower now. So the government has developed a strategy. Stop and think about this. Next year, a married couple over the age of 65 can make $127,000, be in the 12% income tax bracket, and only pay 8.6% effective tax. They can make, listen to this, almost $250,000 paying the 22% bracket, which is the 14.4 effective tax rate. So at those rates, with that being like 98% of America, they can't collect enough revenue. So what they're hoping for, I think they're going to reduce or even eliminate required minimum distributions in the future. They're hoping that your children or your grandchildren will inherit, take the money in a lump sum and pay 30 or 40, and in some states even 50% tax. And that's what meeting with a person like Joe Yakovich at least shows you, hey, this is what they're trying to do to you. Do you want to do something about it while you can without giving up control of your money, without giving away your money while you're alive? What if you could do all of that, cover all the things we just talked about, and you could do it with the same dollar? Here's my statement, my Christmas surprise. Even if you didn't do anything, at the very least, wouldn't you want to know that you could do it or know how to do it and that it was still available to you and your family?
That's exactly where we were leading to. Because John and I, before maybe you jumped on or heard this, you know, how did the average person, Van, and you just said it perfectly, how does the average person, even though when they meet people like us, because of how we think, they don't know that. They didn't even heard of some of the stuff that we're talking about. So for us, it's easy because we've been doing it. But for the average person, like we just mentioned, they never even heard of some of these things. That's the sad part.
Well, but that's why it's so important to not only have a radio program like yours, but to listen. And even more important, here's the key. You can listen till the cows come home, but if you don't take any action, they're still going to hurt you.
Yeah,
and the government, Wall Street, the banks, these guys are not on your side. They're on their side.
That's right.
And so all we're asking you to do is, you know what's so cool about being an American? It's still wonderful to be an American. In America, you can make a decision to develop a strategy that allows you to decide how people treat your finances, how people treat your economic future, how people treat your retirement. You still have the ability to do that, but you can only do that if you decide to take action. If you don't, then you're going to be subject to their whims. And if everything turns out the way we think it will next year, and please, anybody who tells you they know what's going to happen, including me or Joe, we're lying to you.
Right.
Because nobody knows what's going to happen. But if everything turns out the way we think and the way some of the information lines up, next year is going to be difficult, not only for the people of this country, but for the people of the world.
Van, thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking your time out of Wisconsin, Green Bay Packer fan.
So. In fact, the Packers are going to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. All right.
Man, Merry Christmas, brother. Love you.
Merry Christmas to everybody, and take care.
Thank you, Van. And we'll have John in Ocean City after the break, and maybe you at 609-407-1450 I'm John DeMasi. It's Talk with a Purpose, the Joe Yakovich Hour. We'll have some final thoughts with Joe after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group, 856-751-1771, 856-751-1771, or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Oh, we're back. Talk with a Purpose. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Joe Yakovich, available during the week, 856-751-1771. That's the number, 856-751-1771. And his website, jmlfinancialgroup.com. jmlfinancialgroup.com is the website. And we got a couple minutes left of the show. We're going to talk to John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose. You're on with Joe.
Good morning. Well. Pretty soon we'll be saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
Well.
No Kwanzaa, Johnny? No Happy Kwanzaa?
I was an African American, maybe, but I'm actually a billionaire in a poor man's body. I don't want to. The only transition I want to make is from poor to rich. But anyway, my father was moving a 30-foot boat down from Brigantine to Summers Point to dock it at a place that was cheaper to keep his boat. So my brothers and I were on board with him at that time, and we were only about 2 miles out. But a sudden squall came in. And honestly, my older brother, who's almost fearless, basically, he said he was never so scared in his life. The boat was starting to sink. We're using every kind of open bucket we could to get the water out of that boat. My father's a strong man back then, and he was turning that wheel as hard as he could, and we just about made it back alive. So you don't know when the squall's going to come. You don't know. It is going to come. You don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that we have the sleepy, creepy hair sniffer behind the helm. That doesn't send a tingly feeling up my leg. That's for sure. But yeah, I was just going to say, at the risk of sounding redundant, you're a football player. You look at the world as a football game. Now the coach doesn't. The coach knows that his team isn't as strong or fast as the opposing team. He's not going to bring the morale down of his team. He's going to go ahead and come up with strategies to defeat that team. You know?
Correct.
So that's what it is. So what I want to ask, how much? And you also have the secrets of success in that you have a smart wife and a smart son, and you keep it in the family. So that's important to realize that, you can have family members that you can trust.
Correct.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, how much money can you put into a Roth IRA, and how many can you have? Thank you.
Good question. You could put it as much as you want in. Oh, not as I shouldn't say that. You can convert as much as you want, but you can do $7,000 a year. You got to have like an income though. That's the problem, or not a problem, but it is an issue. You must have income, derive income from someplace to be able to do a Roth. So $7,000 this year. But if you can convert, if you have an IRA, you can convert it into a Roth. So that's the most, unfortunately. So if the government was going to help us, and you just heard it. Well, we'll just have unlimited amounts of money you can put in a Roth and pay the tax now, never to worry about in the future. So that's that answer.
Okay, we have Michael on the line.
Yes, Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hey, John. Hey, Dad. How are you guys today?
Good. Mike, I wanted to give a little overview quickly on, because you're heading up this project for the firm on Debt Free for Life. And if you could just share with us, and don't take a Doreen on me, but if you're capable, and I'm sure you are, because you're one of the best now in this space, talk about Debt Free for Life for the firm, Mike.
You just helping out with people. We're noticing people are in so much debt. They don't want to share about it. They don't want to talk about it. The conversation that myself and my father Joe have, we're just, being and allowing them to be vulnerable, sharing about their information with their debt, and we're showing them great ways to get them out of debt as quick as possible, much faster than they may have ever thought, and we're able to show them that we can give them tax-free money at the end of their model, so when they're moving forward and they're out of debt, they can use that money moving forward rather than possibly having to go back into debt. So it's a great model, great program. I'm excited to talk about it with my dad, and I think we're both having fun doing it. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I mean, did you get the one we got in the other day? The woman, I believe, filled all the information out. And I believe, if you saw it, I think it came in last night maybe. It was
53%.
Correct. And amazing that all the debt she had and the effective interest cost that she was being charged, I think it was in the 50s, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah, higher than 50%, and we send our prospects these extremely user-friendly links. It allows them to put all of their information on their comfortable end. They put all their information in. It sends them an email, sends us an email, so it keeps us both very in tune and allows them, the client, to see, wow, that's how much interest I'm paying per month. So very user-friendly system, and it keeps the client right on track.
Well, keep up the good work, Michael, and thanks for chiming in here. We are coming up against the clock, so thanks a lot for the call.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Michael,
it.
for taking the call, brother.
Okay, Joe.
Love you, son.
You wanted to give us some year-end tax or just financial advice, so go ahead.
Right. Well, there's two big concerns, John, as Michael says, and was talking to us about the debt, trying to get people out of debt as fast as possible. And unfortunately, John, it really is what he said. It's an embarrassment, and that's why people don't talk much of it. But our philosophy is real simple, John. I mean, we make it so simple that we actually use one of our brochures. We call it Simple, which basically stands for you need to shelter some of your money. There's no question in my mind. You need to shelter some of the dollars. 2, I, for income. We need to look at income generational planning. For instance, pensions, what one or what type to take, and Social Security, how to take it, when to take it, and such. So we look at all those variables. 3, M, Medicare and long-term care. Who is going to talk to you folks about Medicare and all the things that are tying around that Medicare, deductibles and so forth. 2, and 4, protection. P, protect legacy. What's the best way to leave money to your family or a charity? That's what we're going to be talking about, protecting your legacy. L, which is my favorite one, John, less to the IRS.
Oh, yeah.
And what we do our best to do is make sure we look at all tax strategy planning and income planning when you go into retirement. And the last one, John, we call it the Y, which is the yearly strategy visits. We make sure when we visit our clients, it's not just, move money around, this is what we have. We want to make sure there's a strategy that we're going to talk about when the time comes, when we speak with that individual once a year, because everyone can just, here's what we did last year, this is what we did this year. A little simple for me. I think you need to have someone that sit down with you and your family, to determine the right strategy, and we call it the yearly strategy visits.
And that is going to put the wraps on another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Joe Yakovich, available during the week, 856-751-1771. His website, jmlfinancialgroup.com. I'm your host, John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Always a pleasure. Thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director and producer. And thanks to you, our listeners, because without you, you know it, we don't have a show. Talk to you next Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG. And Merry Christmas to Joe Yakovich. We'll see you next year.
Merry Christmas, John.
Talk with a Purpose. See you later. Take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.